So the Mavic 3 Classic has been out for about 5 months now, and do I still have it? Yes. Do I still use it? Well, let's talk about that. You see, this thing has been sitting on my wall for almost 3 months now, and I haven't really had any interest in flying it at all. Yes, I do have a license to fly it, but I still think it's a little bit too big. But the past month I've actually been taking this out for a lot of flights, and yeah, I have enjoyed it. So today I want to share my second opinion and review of the Mavic 3 Classic and why I actually changed my mind about this drone. So 3 months ago I made a video about the Mavic 3 Classic and the Mini 3 Pro, the two best drones in their categories, and I also said that I didn't need the Classic and I still don't need it. But I've actually preferred flying this over the Mini 3 Pro lately. 2 reasons. I've flown the Mini 3 Pro so much that it's probably time to ship it back to DJI for service. I also sold my Air 2S, which was the worst decision of 2022, but to be able to afford the Mavic 3 Classic, I had to sell one of the drones, and it would definitely not be the Mini 3 Pro. And the Air 2S was actually a medium-sized perfect drone which had amazing video quality, but still small enough for a convenient lightweight travel. So in that way, I basically in some way forced myself into using the Mavic 3 Classic, even though I had it listed for sale for a couple of months because I didn't really know what to do with it because I was flying the Mini 3 Pro all the time. But in this video, I'm not gonna compare the pros and cons with the Mini 3 Pro and the Classic. If you want my honest thoughts on that, I have a dedicated video on the topic in the description below. So this video is gonna be all Classic and my complete honest review of the Mavic 3 Classic after actually now using it almost every day for 1.5 months. So let's dig into that. So let's start from the beginning. One of the reasons I got the Mavic 3 Classic in the first place was the price. The Classic is only $1,749 US with the DJI RC controller and $1,469 for the drone alone. And since I already had the Mini 3 Pro and the RC controller, that was a no-brainer for a drone with this caliber. And not flying around just to compare the quality from different drones, I've actually been loving the camera coming from this drone a lot. The Micro Four Thirds sensor and the option to shoot 5.1K resolution is something you won't find in any other drones than the Mavic 3 series, especially at the same level. And to be honest, I really like what DJI did here with the Mavic 3 series, giving us 3 different options to choose from. And I think this benefits a lot of people wanting to start, let's say for example, a drone business. So let's say you're first starting out and you're limited to budget, or you just want to make sure that the business goes well. You can now actually get the Mavic 3 Classic without worrying about showing up to your client with something like the Mini 3 Pro. Even though it has amazing quality, your client might questioning your choice of drone. That's how it is. The first impression is always important. And now with the cheaper price of the Mavic 3 Classic, that is achievable. Now all the Mavic 3 drones are identical except for a few things. The Classic is no difference to the Mavic 3, for example. The only difference here is the Mavic 3 having a telephoto lens. All the specs are exactly the same. And if you don't need the telephoto lens, you actually save $450 by picking up the Classic. So you can show up to your client and build a portfolio and grow your business with a cheaper version of the Mavic 3, which has the exact same specs in form of quality. And eventually you can either keep this or sell this and then take the step up to the Mavic 3 with the telephoto lens, and then continue growing your business if you feel like the telephoto lens will add to your, what you can offer your client. And after that, you can potentially, if you want, move up to the Cine Premium version, which has 1 terabyte of internal storage and also the option to shoot ProRes. And since I have the Mavic 3 Classic, I've actually been thinking about that myself. I'm not sure if it's ever gonna happen, but it's, it has crossed my mind. Now, after spending a lot more time with the Mavic 3 Classic, I've actually been taking advantage of all the features it has to offer, such as active track, cruise control, and night mode, to mention a few. And one thing I have been missing is the side sensors, which we don't have on the Mini 3 Pro. So with the Mavic 3, it's going to be much safer and easier to do some parallel tracking, for example. And when it comes to tracking, the Mavic 3 Classic also has a lot more options to choose from. So you can basically track yourself from any angle, and not only from the back or from either side. Now, I've also been shooting a lot with the normal and HLG color profile on the Mavic 3 Classic, and I actually think this looks pretty good. It's really easy to color correct and match with all the cameras, and the workaround is a little bit faster to me. It's going to be different to every single person, but for me, it's a little bit faster. But if I'm going to choose one color profile, I do prefer a D-Log. But it has been really interesting to test the other profiles out as well, to see the differences between all when it comes to workflow and also the color science, and basically comparing them a little bit to each other. It has been really interesting to see the differences. Now, 2 of the features that I've been using the most is waypoints and cruise control. Now, these 2 we don't have with the Mini 3 Pro yet. I hope they will come, but I'm not sure. And anyway, these are crucial for me as a solo content creator, because I want to have the best and most convenient way of flying, and also to show you guys a professional looking travel sequence. And I do get that with the Mavic 3 Classic. You see, with cruise control, I can push the stick forward and tap the C1 button, which I've bound to cruise control, and the drone will maintain the exact same speed going forward, backwards, or anywhere I push the sticks. And with the 360 degrees obstacle avoidance sensors, I can take my hands and head off the controller, and that will create a more professional video than if I would stare down at the controller. I can also put the controller down, which will give the look of another person flying the drone. So some really neat features as a solo creator, which I wish, never mind. And with waypoints, I can actually do the exact same thing, but here I first need to set the waypoints of where the drone should fly. There's also endless options here, so you can be really creative with waypoints. But for a quick cinematic shot where I don't want to have the controller in frame, I would say cruise control is definitely my favorite. And you're not limited to a straightforward flight. You can also push the drone forward and up, or then backwards and up, and then hit the cruise control button, which you bound, and the drone will maintain the exact same speed going forward or backwards and up and down. So you can be really creative with this as well. I've also been using Helix in the quick shot menu to add some quick and easy shots, which I can use for Instagram and also put in my travel sequence. I think this is such an underrated feature, and if you add some speed ramping to this, it will look really awesome. So this is something that I'm gonna put in my shot list when I'm out traveling. Really, really awesome. Now, like I said in the beginning, I haven't really been much up to date with the Mavic 3 Classic because I haven't been flying it that much. So it wasn't until recently that I checked out the firmware update of the Mavic 3 Classic and saw that we now had these speed changes. And I dove a little bit deeper and found out that this is something that we achieved because of Philip Bloom. And he took the time to write numerous emails to DJI, and I really appreciate that Philip Bloom did this. And I want to thank you so much for doing that, because this tripod mode, or the option to change the speed, is something that I've been wanting for forever. Make sure that you check out his video. It's really, really informative. And again, thank you for pushing this over to the Mavic 3 Classic. So all in all, this is the best drone that I've ever owned. It's the best drone I've ever flown, and it's the most expensive drone I've ever bought. It's just a fantastic drone. So if you have the budget to get one, I highly consider that you should consider getting one. But there is a fine balance here. What do you need? What do you prefer? Like I said, this is something that I've been flying weekly. It has been weekly throughout the past year. So the Mini 3 Pro is such a fantastic drone, but you are going to get the best quality you can get with the Mavic 3 Classic or the Cine Premium version, but the Cine Premium version is so extremely expensive. But you have all the advantages with the Mavic 3 Classic. It is much better than the Mini 3 Pro. Battery life, you know, features, tracking, especially tracking is amazing on this compared to this. And you also have all the 360 degrees sensors, so you're basically covered. And this doesn't have the side sensors, which is a bummer for a lot of people, including myself, especially when doing parallel tracking with that. But the Mavic 3 Classic has everything. So if you have the budget, also depending on where you live, it has C1 label. So here in Norway, I'm able to fly this as I fly this. But I think if you live in UK, you're gonna struggle with this because you can't fly it like you fly this. So if you could pick one of the three, which drone would it be? Would it be the Classic, or would it be the standard version of the Mavic 3, or the Cine Premium version? Let me know down below, guys, and also don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and check out my Signature LUTs and the motion graphics packs for Final Cut Pro in the description below. And if you found any value in this long-term review, I would say let me know by dropping a like down below, and I will catch you guys in the next video.